Welcome to The Explainer. Look, every team in the league is chasing a superstar, right? But championships, they're often won in the margins. Today, we're cracking open the Scouts playbook on 4 players you've absolutely got to have on your radar.
So let me ask you something. When you're watching the games, when you look at the league, are you really seeing the whole picture? Or are you just seeing what the big headlines are showing you? Because trust me, the real game, the next big thing, is usually happening just out of frame.
You know, the secret sauce for building a championship team isn't always about getting the #1 pick. It's about finding that incredible, game-changing value where nobody else is even looking.
And that is exactly what this is all about today. We're giving you the inside track, the scout's eye view, on 4 players who are the definition of hidden gems, just brimming with potential and waiting to explode onto the scene. Okay, let's get right into it. Here are the 4 guys we're putting under the microscope today. You're going to want to remember these names. First up, we've got Dalen Terry. Yeah, he's currently on a 2-way with the 76ers, but don't let that fool you. Scouts are absolutely buzzing about his raw physical tools. We're talking about a guy with a massive wingspan and lightning-quick feet, which gives him the potential to be a nightmare defender on the perimeter, a skill every single contender is desperate for. All right, next on the list, Cedric Coward. Now, this is a guy who, at one point, people were talking about as a mid-first rounder. And honestly, it's easy to see why. He's got that perfect build, you know? The ideal frame and a sweet shooting stroke for that coveted 3-and-D role. The guy who locks down their best player and then goes and drills a 3 on the other end. Our third prospect is Danny Wolf. Now, this is a name you're gonna wanna remember, because you might just hear it called in the first round of the 2025 draft. Right now, he's down in the G League just cooking, putting up some seriously impressive offensive numbers and showing everybody he's got the goods to be a versatile scoring big at the next level. And rounding out our 4, we've got Nikola Topic. Now, he's a little different. He was a lottery pick, so his team has already invested big in him. They're betting on him to be a cornerstone piece down the road. You're looking at a super smart, high IQ guard, the kind of guy who can really run the show. So, okay, if these guys have all this potential, the big question is, why aren't they famous yet? Right? Why aren't they all over your TV screen every night? Well, see, getting that mainstream NBA fame, it's not just about talent. You usually have to hit one of these 3 big thresholds. You either got to have some kind of crazy statistical explosion that the media can't ignore, or be a huge name coming out of the draft. Or, be a main guy on a team that's always in the spotlight. If you don't check one of those boxes, it is really, really easy to fly under the radar. And that's the whole thing right there. These 4 guys we're talking about, they're still on that path. They're showing us these flashes of pure brilliance, these moments where you go, whoa. But they haven't done it consistently enough to meet that media criteria for being a star. And that's exactly why there are hidden gems. Okay, so this brings us to the most important part. What's the key? What's that one thing each of these guys needs to do to unlock their full potential and finally break out? Let's start with Dalen Terry. For him, it all comes down to one thing. His whole career path could change if he can just nail down one specific skill.
We've already seen hints of it, right? He had this stretch where he got scorching hot from 3, hitting over 41%. Now look, it was a small sample size, for sure. But man, it shows you what he could be. If he can turn that little flash into a consistent, dependable weapon from outside, oh man, his value is just gonna skyrocket.
All right, let's talk Cedric Coward. With him, it's all about his physical tools. That's his ticket to the big time. So for Coward, the key is just building on what he's already got. I mean, the dude can shoot the 3 efficiently, and he's got those long arms you want on defense. But he's coming from a smaller school and he's had some injuries. The big question is, can his body hold up? If he can dial in his conditioning and add just a little something off the dribble, he stops being a prospect and becomes a legit 3-and-D weapon.
Okay, let's pivot to Danny Wolf. His story is a little different. See, he's already shown he can put the ball in the hoop, just not in the NBA yet.
For Wolf, it's simple, but it's also the hardest thing in the world. He just needs a shot, a real one. He's been tearing it up in the G League, dropping 22-point games, showing off that offensive arsenal. All he needs now is the opportunity. He needs a team to give him consistent minutes so he can prove that what he's doing there translates to the big leagues. And last but not least, Nikola Topic. His journey isn't about adding a new skill. It's about getting back to being the player who was so good he got drafted in the lottery.
Like we said, his team already believes in him, they spent the 12th pick on him, they love his talent, his smarts, his mental toughness.
So for him, it's really just about getting healthy. Once his body is 100%, once he's back in peak physical shape, he has everything he needs to be a really, really solid and dependable guard for them for years to come.
All right, so we've broken down these guys, we've laid out their paths to stardom. What's the bottom line here? What's the big takeaway for you?
Well, just look at this. It tells the whole story. You see this huge gap between their potential and how much people are actually talking about them. On one side, you've got all this incredible upside. On the other, crickets. Barely any hype. And that gap, right there, that's where the smartest teams in the league find their edge.
And that is exactly why this stuff matters. The best front offices, the winning organizations, they are always on the hunt for guys just like this. Undervalued assets. They know that finding these players, giving them a real opportunity, that's how you build a contender. It would be a total waste to let talent like this slip through the cracks.
So consider the playbook officially handed over to you. Now you know what to look for, right? Those flashes of skill, the path they need to take. So keep your eyes peeled next time you're watching a game, because you never know. The league's next breakout star might just be hiding in plain sight.